Right. I mean, and again, I've said it, you've heard me say it a bunch of times already, but the Establishment Clause does not prohibit religion. It restricts it just like time, place restrictions, time, place, matter restrictions. The same thing with religion, that freedom of religion does not mean freedom from religion, and that the courts have actually recognized that certain things, even though they may have religious significance, also have other significance. Where you have what is it, the Brandenburg Cross? That's one of the cases that came up, and that was that it was a cross that was on public land. That it was public land covered by taxpayers, and that the maintenance of this cross, which was a huge cross, was maintained by public funds, and that it was built on those public lands after World War One as a war memorial, and that it had been there for, you know, at this point, at the time that it was challenged, almost a century, and that the people that challenged it said this is a religious cross, it's a it's a Christian cross, and that as such, the country, the state, the town is establishing religion. They're putting forward a religion against the establishment clause, and the court allowed the cross to stand, saying, yes, okay, this does have some religious significance, but that's where they started saying you have to look at the historical significance and when this occurred, and what the historical significance of it. Where it was a religious cross, but it had other meanings to it
Right.
and other significance, and because of that, they allowed it. So
The purpose of the cross wasn't for people to kneel down and to start praying and to convert to that particular Christianity. The purpose of the cross was to honor the fallen dead and the wounded and all of the casualties, who suffered in World War One. So when the court examined it, it did not have that religious, they said, did not have the religious overtone that the plaintiffs who brought the suit were alleging.
right, and
But that also
where
goes
the
it also goes to show, like I was saying, it's the a context, but it's also the change in the times. In 1718, when World War One ended, we entered the war in 17. War ended in 18, and we still had a tremendous number of losses. But at that time, our country was still very much a religious nation, by and large. So no one, I shouldn't say no one, but the vast majority, if not everyone who looked at that cross when it was erected after World War One, knew that it was there to honor the fallen and the casualties, certainly, but they didn't mind that it was a cross because they're looking for, you know, heavenly solace, whatever it might be. It didn't bother them at all because they were a religious nation. Fast forward a century, and the church attendance and secularism has crept in. It's a different viewpoint for different people, but you still have to go to the lens of what does it mean under the terms of the Constitution.
right, right. I mean, and you'll see most of the challenges that come up to the establishment clause come from schools, because that's where a lot of the time that these things are implemented. The Ten Commandments, prayer in school, and so that's where you'll, like, when reviewing the case law, reviewing the Supreme Court case law, looking at all these things, that's where you see it most of the time happen. Um, and where the courts have really drawn the line have been essentially whenever there is a funding that specifically favors one religion over the other, like where it gives and it goes across the board, where you have any type of schools that are religion based, you know, be it be it a Catholic school, Christian based school, Jewish, even you even have some of the now some of the Muslim based schools. The courts are looking at that and they're saying, okay, yeah, no, we're not going to allow that because that's where the money is going directly to support this and like use this as a way of propagation of the faith. And so it's recognizing it's sort of refining it where it's saying, is this merely a ceremonial thing or is this a propagation of a religious belief? And if it's a propagation of a specific religious belief, that's where they'll more likely now fall on the side of saying that's not allowed, as opposed to this is merely a ceremonial where it has a religious aspect to it, but it's more of a ceremony, and as such, we're going to allow it. Not all the time.